Guys, it's good to be with you. My name is Drew Meadows, and through the miracle of technology, are coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. And I want to thank my dear friend Hal Haddon for giving me this opportunity to share with you what I believe is the most powerful tool that Christ is using to shake and wake up his men. See, the year was 1998, and I was 29 years old, and I was growing dead and stale spiritually. Here I was a leader and a deacon at a large metropolitan church, but yet I wasn't even finding the time or making the time to pray and spend time with my Lord or His Word on a daily basis. You know, like the Pharisees, I looked good, I smelled good, I said all the right things, but I was dying on the inside. Maybe some of you can relate. But thank God, two of my older brothers came to me with this thing called CLC. And it intrigued me because they told me that it had woken them up, had brought them back to the Word, brought them back to their love for Christ. And I credit CLC with three powerful things. And I don't say this lightly. I credit CLC with shaking me up out of my slumber. I credit CLC with saving my marriage and with even keeping me from, quite frankly, a nervous breakdown. But I got so much more than I ever could have imagined. I got what I call the top 8 things that CLC gave me. Number 1, I got 11 great friends. I mean, some guys die without having any. They might have, a golf buddy or some business associates or employees, but they don't have a true friend. And thank God I did get those friends because I was going to need them. You see, last year we have the blessing of having 5 awesome kids. But last year the unthinkable happened. Brock, my 4th son, died of the flu right before his 3rd birthday. And it rocked my world. He was my joy. He was my little buddy. And at the visitation, we had folks, my CLC buddies, they stood in line for like 4 hours just to get a chance to hug my neck and to pray over me and to cry over me. And guys, that's a true friend. Chances are you're not going to need, or you're not going to have a tragedy to that level, at least I pray you don't, in the next 2 years. But in the next 2 years, you're going to have some shocker that you're not counting on, and you're going to need a friend. When I look in men's eyes, and if I could be with you this morning, I know if I looked around into your eyes, I would see death. Death of a business, death of a marriage, death of a dream, death of maybe with this world economy, maybe it's the death of your standard of living. But men are dying, and they need a friend. The devil, see, when you're alone, the devil can pick you off. But when you lock arms with 11 other guys, the devil can't get to you. And that's powerful. Number 2, I got a Christian board of directors. I own my own business. It's an insurance agency. And we help businesses and executives. And as I interview these guys all around the world, I notice one thing, and that is they're hurting. Now is the time to have 11 other men giving you godly wisdom and worldly wisdom. And what would you pay for that? Number 3, I got discipleship. After 15 years of being a believer, I had very little training as to what it means to be like Christ on a daily basis. I call it a graduate degree in Jesus. Number 4, I got a safe and confidential place, which is a hard thing to do. It's a hard place to find for Christian leaders. You see, I shared, because I knew it was safe, I shared my dark places, things you don't share with your golf buddies. That I was struggling with anger, that I was struggling with coveting, that I was struggling with lust. And for me, those 3 things came together, anger, coveting, and lust, in the perfect storm of pornography. And I had been an idiot for years and just could never find freedom. I'd prayed the prayers, I'd done all the things, and could just never find freedom. And as I opened up with these guys, the Holy Spirit shined His light on my dark places and healed them. And all of a sudden, Satan, his talons that were deep in my soul and were just lying to me for years, released, and I found freedom. See, I was no longer in the dark. and I was no longer alone. Number 5, I got accountability. No one had ever confronted me in love. No one had ever held a mirror up to my face and say, "This is what you're becoming." But I would get those calls when they knew I was tempted the most. They would call me at 10 o'clock at night and say, "Hey man, I got your back. I'm praying for you." Number 6, I devoured the Bible. For the first time, I grew a thirst for His Word. And I found it just shocked me. It was alive. The words jumped off the page. It was real. It was relevant. And it was timely. And I needed it. Number 7, I evangelized. And not thumping people over the head with a Bible, but just weaving God into natural conversations where it just flowed. And you know what? I found out that people responded to that. And they wanted to know more. And it was powerful, even in business conversations. And all of a sudden, I found out that Sunday was blurring into Tuesday, and that was awesome. And number 8, finally, it all came together where I became a better husband. I became a better father. I mean, I'm not perfect. I still screw up, but I'm a whole lot better than I was. And I'm a better employer. I'm a better server. I'm a better leader. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about CLC. I mean, it is a huge part of my ministry. And I went on to lead another group, and then I joined the Atlanta leadership team. And as I go into other churches all over the city, I look into those guys' eyes too, and I see that they're hurting. And they're hurting because, their wives are wondering, why isn't their husband being the spiritual head of the house? And their kids are wondering, they can't put a word to it, but they know that something's wrong with daddy. And see, the body is losing because men are not being the men of Christ that Christ calls us to be. We're abdicating our role. Women are having to step up because we're not stepping up. We need to show our families what Christ looks like, and CLC has done that for me. Guys, CLC may not be for you. And to be honest, you may not qualify for it. But I will tell you, it's not perfect, but it's the best tool that I've seen to equip men to be the men that God calls us to be and made you to be. The strategy is clear. Jesus said, if you take the man, you take the family. If you take he changed the world with 12 men, right? So when you take the man, you take the family. When you take the family, you take the church. When you take the church, you take the community, and then the nation. And that's the best part. Once you take the next step, which is the world, Jesus comes back, and I'm excited about that. This is when Satan is going to remind you of all the lame excuses you have for not doing this. I know, I've been there. But let me challenge you. Let me get in your face for a minute. Get in the game. Get off the sidelines. I mean, raise your hand. How many of y'all know that being in the game is a whole lot more fun than being on the sidelines? And is it exhausting? Yeah. These guys really get together for 2 years? Yeah. At 6 in the morning? Yeah. Is your life going to be changed? Yeah. Is it worth it? Oh yeah. Is your wife and are your kids, are they going to thank you for doing this one day? Absolutely. And bottom line, are you going to make an eternal difference? Yes, you are. So guys, pray about it. For you married guys, go home, talk with your wife, pray about it some more, pray about it with them. I promise you, it's a wild ride, and it's worth every minute of it. And may God just bless you as you bless others. And I can't wait to meet you guys one day in heaven. And until then, take care.